Go. Hey folks, John Cantera, the Double Broker Bounty Hunter here. Welcome to episode 60 of Stop the Scam. We've got a pretty action-packed show for you today, but we're going to start it off with a couple of news events, and then we'll start talking about the panel. First item coming right up after our after a little bit of word from our sponsor at AccuBid Pro.
Tired of spending hours bidding on loads and second-guessing your profits? Introducing AccuBid Pro, the mobile app designed for the everyday owner-operator. We simplify load bidding, making it fast, accurate, and stress-free. Know your operating costs up front to ensure every load is profitable. Plus, for a limited time, enjoy a 30-day free trial. Stop guessing and start earning. Download AccuBid Pro today, available now in the App Store. Bid better with AccuBid Pro.
Well, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so we'll get to the introductions here in just a minute. But first, we've got the news, thanks to truckersnewshub.com. For those who don't know, the 1.4 billion Catholics on the planet are in mourning. The Pope has passed away this morning in Rome. The Vatican is now going through the process of working on selecting a new pope. So the way that process works is that the pope will lie in state at the Vatican. Then preparations will be made for the funeral, and then for conclave, which is the big conference of cardinals who will, if I can stop my phone, who will then go through the selection process for the new pope. We will go through the 9 days of mourning. That's when the funeral and the burial of the Pope will take place. And then conclave will begin. Conclave usually starts somewhere in the 15 to 20 day period after the death of the late Pope. There are currently 138 electors who will be selecting the new Pope. These are cardinals under the age of 80 who have been summoned to the Vatican so that they can start the conclave. Once conclave does start, it should be 2 to 4 days before we have an announcement of who the new Pope will be. In other news relating to the logistics industry, we also have well, as everyone's going to hate hearing it, the freight recession is now imminent. If it ever did go away from the last couple of years, well, it is going to come back with a vengeance. Reports from Long Beach in California are saying that vessel calls are being canceled on a outstanding basis. At this point, roughly 40% of vessel calls for the month of May have been canceled, which means a massive reduction in import freight coming into the West Coast. So over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will see a massive drop in volume coming out of the ports, followed by a drop of volume of inland freight, both rail and truck, starting from the West Coast. That same process will repeat itself on the Gulf Coast and the East Coast approximately 2 weeks later. So within about 30 days, this industry is going to feel one heck of a pinch when it comes to freight. So anyone who thinks that the tariffs are a good thing, I hope you don't live in the trucking industry, because we're about to feel a lot of pain, and it's going to take a long time to recover should the tariffs get lifted. Economists estimate that if the tariffs are lifted today, that the transportation industry would be feeling the pain of a recession in freight for at least a period of 3 months. That's the time it takes to manufacture products overseas, to get it loaded onto a ship, and then to sail to the United States for distribution. So that is the news. Like I said, we're kind of rushed, so we're going to go ahead and start getting into our panel real quick. A good chunk of the panel we have here includes the leadership of the newly formed Freight Fraud Task Force. Those of you who follow me online know that we've been talking about the Freight Fraud Task Force for a little while. And we are finally getting it up and running. And I'd like to introduce the president of the Freight Fraud Task Force, Jeff Dickinson, to introduce the board.
Yes, thank you, John. I appreciate your invite to join today. We do have all the 4 people who actually are the co-founders of the Freight Fraud Task Force. We have John Cantera. He is the vice president of the FFTF. We have also Tom Rook, who is the treasurer. And we also have Claudia Catlett, who is our secretary, but she does a lot more than just doing the secretary business, as well as everybody who are the co-founders. We are building it as we speak. You've probably seen a lot of my posts this morning. There will be updates, multiple ones this week going into next week, but there's a lot to do. This is not a sprint. It is a marathon. And we hope to get everybody on board. We're looking for the best of the best. We want to be in every single state, pushing our narrative and getting things accomplished. We will not tell anybody how we are doing it. We will just discuss the accomplishments from doing our justice and getting rid of the bad folks that are out there. But it is going to take a lot of work, and I believe that the board, as well as the directors and committee members, are the best of the best, and will help us push that forward quickly.
Now, we already are actually doing things at this time. I think we got Dale Prax has just joined us. We are doing a bunch of things at this time. We'll disclose those results of those events as we go. We are involved in multiple investigations, as well as putting together training programs. So there is a lot to come from the Freight Fraud Task Force as we continue to develop. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Anyone else on the team? Tommy, you got anything you want to add?
No, not at all. I look forward to it. As you know, I've been trying to send some people our way. Jeff, you come in with the other Jeff today. Fortunately, I was with my foundation, Motor Carriers Insurance Foundation, last week, and there were 700 people there. A lot of people that I have approached about we have, and I got 3 or 4 people who want to join us once we get up and running and have something for them to do there. So we made some good contacts in that area.
Okay, Claudia, you have anything you want to add? Are you out there? Oh, there she is.
I could talk about Freight Fraud Task Force for some time, but I don't want to try to take away from what we're doing here with Danielle and our care portal. So I will hold all that, but I'm excited about being part of that, and appreciate Danielle for her time today.
Awesome. And Dale is one of the members of the task force. He is also advising the executive team on some matters. Dale, you got anything you'd like to add real quick? Dale, can you hear us?
I think he's frozen.
He might be. Okay. Well, we'll get back to Dale. I think Dale's going to be around for pretty much the entire show because I know he's interested in everything that Danielle has to say. So before we get on with Danielle,
I think that.
Oh, there we are.
Nope, he's frozen.
I think this is something the industry is needed for these things, and it'll work and to help think about it.
Okay, Dale, you got a very rough connection. I don't think we caught any much of what you said at all.
And my internet's really bad.
Okay, well, we'll hold off on that for the time being. I know a couple of people at the task force need to roll, but I did want to go ahead and introduce some folks. Because we will be pushing out a lot of information from the task force through Stop the Scam. So glad to have you guys in here, and I'm glad to be part of this team.
Glad to have you.
Now, before we go into Danielle's stuff, I've got a wonderful little video here. Where is my video clip?
I love this video.
Oh, no. This is a different one. She sent me a different one. Oh yeah. Well, okay.
I think I sent this one to you too. I think I sent you both.
Okay. I thought I had saved it, and I've got to go back and I've got to queue it back up again. So give me a couple of seconds. Open that up. I think this is it. And God, I love doing live shows. Always fun.
Live is the best.
It is. It is. And I got running around doing a bunch of stuff trying to get a rate confirmation done.
Come on now.
Okay, come on. Finish processing. Finish processing. God, I love our software.
This is not AI.
No, that definitely not. If you ever needed proof that this is that we do things live, here it is. Okay, nope, that wasn't it. That wasn't the right video clip. Where's
I have it pulled up if you want me to. I don't know how to really do it, but I do have it.
Click on the present button.
Okay.
And share your screen.
And I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up as soon as I see it. Where the heck did it go? There it is. I got too many guests on. I got it. There we go.
You guys ready?
All right. Go. Nice garbage dump.
That is an insane amount of cargo.
All stolen.
All stolen.
Yeah, all of this is stolen from every single bit that you see.
Holy cow.
That is insane.
That is insane.
Yeah, the officers told me that while they were walking through one of the pallets almost fell over on top of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of material was that, Danielle? Do you know?
I don't know for sure. They didn't actually tell me, but they said it was all sorts of different things. So ranging from I think I said Huffy bikes was one thing. I mean, it's like all sorts of different brands. So who knows how long that took them to accumulate all that, but it's wild.
So the reason why we have Danielle here is that she is running a webinar on Thursday. That is at noon Central Time, 1 Eastern. In cooperation with the California Highway Patrol, or CHiPs, as people of my generation might recall it. Oh, I miss that old TV show. But we have that going on, talking about cargo theft in California, and they have got a whole ton of stuff that they've been working on, including recommendations on how to deal with it. Danielle, tell us a little bit about what's going on Thursday.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate having me on here and spreading the word because I'm very excited about this. I met these guys at actually Carrier Sure. They have their own summit. So I met them there. They were on stage, gave basically a version of this demonstration that they're going to be showing on the webinar. But basically was just blown away by what all they're doing and what all they see. And I mean, we all hear about it, but I don't think there's not enough, exposure about it. There's not enough, crazy stories. I mean, we all hear crazy stories, but as far as the cops go. And so after their presentation, I met up with them. We all went out to dinner and talked for hours and told just the most insane stories. So I'm like, everybody needs to hear this. I definitely don't think that the cops, I know as a broker, I did not feel like they cared or did not feel like I'd make a call for a report and I got tossed around a lot. And I mean, just super frustrated. So they're even saying the reports that they get is low compared to how much stuff is actually stolen. So just kind of making awareness of that, showing that there are, even though there's only 4 guys that are handling all of Southern Cal for cargo theft, which is insane. But if we were to bring more awareness to them, they're producing huge numbers as far as captured stuff. So trying to get them some help, trying to get some more exposure nationwide. And then also I got the TIA government affairs coming on too. And they're going to be talking about some bills that are coming up for us as Americans that we can, kind of put our little, I think there's clicks that you do online to say that we want this to go into effect. So just trying to spread the word, make awareness, and hopefully make some changes because this is ridiculous, to say the least.
That is just absolutely insane. I can't believe there's only 4 cops who are dedicated to this task force. As big as this problem is, I can't begin to fathom it, because what is it? 75% of the cargo thefts that are known are out in Southern California. Is that correct?
Right. Yep. Well, in California, they do have Northern California, LA area, and then Southern California. So, but they handle the whole long port, the biggest port basically in the, well, I think it is the biggest port in the United States.
Long
and so
Beach,
they
yes.
handle, and then that whole railway. Me and Jeff were talking about this before. I mean, they handle miles and miles and miles and miles of Southern California. So 4 guys definitely is not enough to do everything, but they do have, they can call on like local police and stuff, but these guys are like the specialists on this. And then, but even like other California, like I was talking to at that summit, we were kind of all talking, and they're saying that there's a police department there in California that you call to make a report on, and they're like, you have to fly out here and make this report in person. And so they were talking to the California task force guys, and they're like, I mean, do these guys not understand what the problem is and how things work? And they're like, no, they don't. They don't have. They're not trained on it. There's not enough education on there for police, like average, police to do that. That's why they have these specialized task force. And it's California, Illinois, Texas, Florida. I think those are the only 4 states that currently have a cargo theft task force. Georgia had one. They shut it down. So yeah, I think there just needs to be more awareness. And this is not mainstream news, and it should be, because it's all affecting our wallets, and tariffs are talking. So that's like the first time freight has been in the news, but let's steer that as well to cargo theft. But
yeah, it's been going on for a long, long time. The intermodal theft coming out of LA ports, that's been going on since COVID, and even prior to COVID. I mean, that was the biggest question I would have for CHiPs. Understandably, they only have 4 on their task force, but knowing that this is happening, and you see all the corrugated boxes and dunnage that are left by the rails, and you see products still in boxes, this didn't just happen overnight. This is something that's been going on, has not been cleaned up. And why they don't put any kind of police presence in that area known as a high theft area beats the living out of me, because I don't get it. It just seems like they're washing their hands and pretty much saying, have at it, have fun, take whatever you want, there's nothing we can do about it. And that's something that we, as the FFTF, to your point, we need to train these people. We need to show them, how bad it really is. I wonder how bad they think it is only in their areas, compared to the rest of the country, because it's not isolated. It's all over, happening to everybody out there. And they need to beef it up. And it's well worth the cost to do that compared to what we're losing. So.
Yeah, I was asking them, well, how did you guys even get funded? And I guess what happened was somebody went to their city hall and proposed that there was like an extra $1 added to I think it was their DMV fees or their CDL fees. I can't really remember. But one of those things, and that $1 is dedicated to that task force. So I'm like, so then can every American do it? Like, can we get everybody to be on board on this and have just like a huge front? Now, do I think the government does the right thing with the money all the time? No. So maybe that's why people haven't done this. But there's got to something that we all can do. I don't know what. So
yeah, it's called misappropriation of funds. That's the reason why you don't get it in the right areas to defend and protect the brand image and reputation of everybody in the logistics industry.
Right.
It's done haphazardly. And you have the rules, you have the regulations, you have the mandates that are in place, but nobody enforces them. It's a huge, huge problem. So, as consumers, as logisticians, we have to take it upon ourselves to bring it to a higher level, whether it's a governor or a senator or a congressman in each and every state. Be consistent with the narrative, be persistent in what we need to have happen, to show them the data, to remove the emotional part out of the decision making, let it speak for itself, and demand change. This is why pretty much, I wanted to put this thing together, because it's going to take a village and much more. It's going to take a country to get this.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to take a nation for sure.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I think just even awareness. I mean, I was even just telling my grandparents about this. I'm like, I gotta tell you about this amazing webinar I got going on. And I told them the whole story, and they were like, I had no idea this was happening. And I mean, they're like news junkies. That's all they do. And so it's just not, the average American does not know, unless if you're in the logistics industry, that's how you know. So tell your grandparents, tell your neighbors, tell everybody. If you go golfing with a senator, if you go golfing with a newscaster, I mean, this stuff needs to be, talked about a lot more on a wider stage.
Yeah, I've seen some.
So I will talk to everybody later. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
Jeff.
Yeah, I have seen so many different things when it comes to fraud in the industry over the last few years. And the old style cargo theft from, say, Goodfellas was not something I thought still existed until I started seeing videos of these individuals raiding trains in Chicago, in LA, and other areas. It's just unbelievable. I remember seeing some of the pictures that Jeff was talking about of the railheads in Long Beach, absolutely littered with all of the dunnage, securement, and whatnot that was inside those containers. I think somebody actually clocked the crooks and said they could strip a container in about 30 minutes or less. I would want to hire them if I was running a warehouse as fast as they unload the stuff. But that's neither here nor there. It's gotten crazy. It has gotten to a point where the industry has got to step up and do something as an industry to try to control this, because it's open season.
Yeah, it is. Totally.
It truly is open season now. It's crazy.
And you can tell that these, organizations that are doing this they know the industry really well. They've either been in it, maybe they were dock workers. I mean, and like, for instance, a dock worker makes minimum wage and they really could care less on what's coming in and out of there. So they're not checking things. So, I mean, even just like that front, they get desperate. They need money. Maybe somebody slips them an extra 50 to look the other way. I mean, there's so many things that happen in this that I think, it's from the warehouse. I feel like there's inside jobs everywhere. But then even just like a simple, like we were watching I think the video that Jeff showed the last week was somebody breaking into a secure lot, just like cutting the bolts, driving up to whatever trailer and just driving right away. I mean, it was a secure lot, locked, videoed. There was even somebody who's supposed to be, maybe they're on lunch break or something, I don't know, but there was even like a guard shack area. I mean, like, he had to have known exactly what trailer to hit. So then how does that happen? Do they follow them till they get there and then watch it and wait for that guy to go to lunch or go to the bathroom? And then, I mean, like, it's definitely a lot more it's more organized than I think we give them credit for. And I think that's really what we need to figure out is it's more like old school mafia style right now. It's very organized crime. It's not just, somebody just going on a whim and stealing something here and there, or jumping a train and stealing something. It's not like retail theft. This is like organized crime.
They know exactly what to hit and when to hit it. Right. I mean, we're seeing increased targeting of like containers with cell phones in it, TVs, other electronics, the high dollar stuff.
Even like Nike shoes. They raided a Nike shoes trailer. I mean, no wonder why my Nikes are $150.
Yeah, seriously. And that's exactly the end result, is the consumer at the end of the day is going to pay for it all.
Right.
And if there isn't enough outrage already about how high prices are getting, then there needs to be outrage about the things that can be controlled. Granted, Washington is taking care of the tariff side, but we as a population should be able to handle things like theft by speaking up and demanding that police deal with it.
Right.
This is crazy.
And even stricter laws, like they're telling me that warehouse or whatever, the guy had, I think they said like estimated $2 million worth of freight, and he got convicted for a year. He served, I think they said 4 months. It was either 4 or 6 months. 4 to 6 months is what he served, because then they let him out with good behavior because their prisons are overran in California, and they also have like those type of laws there too. So I mean, they're right back out there. And then whenever you talk to the cops out there, they're like, yeah, we'll see patterns, and it's the same people over and over again. Either they get deported and they come right back in. I guess that's a good amount of these guys are illegals coming in. or they get convicted, they go to jail. I mean, serving 6 months or even serving the full year, a year's time for like $2 million profit. Who knows how much more money he made and just didn't, like, they didn't find, and he already sold and cashed in. So, I mean, millions of dollars worth. I mean, I'd serve a year, like, it needs to be way stricter than that to deter people and get them to go somewhere else. So,
yeah, I think aside from greed, need does fall into play here. So that the socioeconomic situation does need to be evaluated when it comes to dealing with cargo theft. Again, these guys know what they're hitting, which also points to the fact that, hey, it's probably an inside job. I've worked enough warehouses to know that we know what containers are coming in. We know what the cargo is in those containers. And most of the guys, down to at least the dock supervisor, is aware. So, somebody's in on it. Like the example you gave earlier about the guy pulling up to that one container yard, knew he unlocked the gate, so he had a key. Or if there was a code, he knew the code. One way or the other, he didn't destroy the gate. He opened it properly, and then went right to the container.
Right.
Hooked up, left. He was out of there in 3 minutes?
Well, he actually cut the bolt, but yes, like he did break in, but yeah, I mean, he went. Okay. Yeah, but I think the video is a total of, I think the whole thing was 5 minutes. So I mean, a total of 5 minutes to make X amount of dollars, and like I said, pulled directly up to wherever, hooked on, and left. I mean, that's insane. So
yeah, when I ran warehouses, if we had containers sitting on the yard, we had kingpin locks on them. And what to prevent that kind of thing,
right?
And I look around where I am in Pensacola, and there are truckers who drop trailers all over the place around me. There are a few legal parking places in town, and as I drive past them, there's not a single kingpin lock or anything of that type on any of these trailers, and I could hook up to any of them and just walk away. I mean, brand new tanker trailers, flatbeds, step decks. I mean, man, it's a smorgasbord if I were that kind of person.
I know.
Jeez.
Well, and so part of the stuff that they'll show too is kind of like how is the cargo stolen to, and they go over how whenever they go into like a warehouse and hook up, they know exactly which bay to even go into. So tell me that's not an inside job. But they usually have like a regular car that is like our spotter car. So they'll pull up, make sure there's nobody really there. Then they go back out, and then they, they're waiting, and then they kind of follow them through. They're like their tail car. I mean, this is like a multi-person operation. It's very, very thought out. I mean, they've done their homework. And then, they'll also go into how they're actually getting the freight off of the trailer, like the BOL manipulation. I know I've sat on here talking to you about that too. I mean, that alone, like pulling off the doors without having to trigger anything, having the seal broken, none of that's happening. And they kind of show like what things they're looking for on that. Because a lot of that stuff I didn't even know. I'm like, how do they even get in there? And they have pictures to show and kind of all that stuff. So it's like the stories that they have too is so wild. I mean, I'm hoping that I scheduled an hour, but I'm like, I have a feeling this is going to run over, but I feel like they need to say all the things that they can say.
Just a little bit. I mean, we're doing a preview here, and we're just talking about one video that we shown and one that you showed last week, and we're already coming up on 30 minutes. So right. This is going to be crazy. I've not just worked in transportation. Most people who have seen the show know that I've worked in warehousing and port operations before. So, I mean, I know how this game is played on the port side and in the warehouse side as well. And the level of sophistication that these guys are going to, it is unbelievably orchestrated. And it's so hard to emphasize enough how security procedures need to be put into place, not just at port terminals, but also at transfer yards, also at warehouses. And as long as basic security procedures are in place, we can stamp out a fair amount of this fraud.
Right.
A fair amount, not all, because we've seen how these guys are willing to go onto the dang tracks and pull the stuff right off the damn train.
Right.
So I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, and that's where law enforcement needs to step in. I can't wait to hear what the Highway Patrol has to say about that.
I know. I mean, I think I'm up to. I had to consolidate their slides, but I'm up to like 38 slides.
Oh, Jesus.
Just I know, and each stuff. I'm like I said, like there's no freaking way we're gonna stay within an hour. I really hope so, but there's so much to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of like what's going on in theft, because I've honestly, I think we're over 1,000 people registered, so and it's all over the place as far as people that signed up. And so it's, why is it an issue in California? Why is it an issue in the whole United States? How is it being stolen? How are they catching them? And they just kind of give some tips and stuff. I know Claudia messaged on our little private chat here that, like how do we want the bad guys knowing these things? And to be honest, a lot of this stuff is available online. So we're not giving away all the secrets in the world, but we got to keep some stuff hidden so they can do their job. But a lot of it's going to be about on this webinar too, is like, how can us as brokers, how can we, like what if we were to make the phone call and we were to make the report, like what is their dream case scenario? Like what can we get them right away to get them moving first? Like almost like an episode of the First 48. If this was the episode of First 48, I give you every single thing that you need. Can you go find this? So even like that information, and then even like what do I even do when it does happen? I think there's so much. You're freaking out. Your customer's freaking out. You don't want to look bad. You don't want to have a bad reputation. You're dealing with insurance. You're going to have to fork out a bunch of money. So it's hard. It's confusing. Like if you've never gone through that before, and there's a lot of new brokers are in this space right now too. I mean, or even if you're an existing broker and you've done this a billion times, I feel like there's always something that you may miss in your steps. So we'll be going over that. And then a lot of like prevention too, like what things, kind of like a little bit on how to vet a carrier. I don't want to get too much into that because of course that kind of pushes my brand a lot, which is great, and I love my brand. But I'm trying to make this not be salesy or even about me. It's more about the industry. So we'll have a little bit in there just because it's kind of part of it. But anyways, yeah.
I have just seen way too much when it comes to theft. I know 2 weeks ago I was assisting a broker on a cargo theft that they went through out in New Jersey. And cargo wound up in New York. We actually ended up recovering that cargo. It was stolen on Friday. We did recover it on Monday,
Wow.
which is frankly unbelievable because usually if it's been more than 24 hours, that cargo's gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I call it cargo laundering, where they sit there and they transfer the cargo onto another truck or at a cross dock and then put it onto another truck. An hour later, it's at another cross dock facility and swaps trucks again. And you might be able to follow it one turn. You might, if you're lucky, follow it through two turns. But after that, you're gone. It's gone. Right. You're not going to find it anymore. Like I said, I call it money laundering, cargo laundering, because of how it's moved around. And it does exactly that. I am absolutely amazed how last week's guest managed to recover that stolen cargo. I was absolutely amazed a year ago when there was a load of copper that was supposed to get picked up in, if I recall correctly, it was Michigan bound for North Carolina. It was double brokered as a blind shipment. The new BOL sent it to Southern California. And the only reason why we figured it out was because the driver had reached out to me about 10 minutes after he dropped it saying something doesn't feel right. We got the address. We got a hold of the real broker. We got a hold of the local police. Police were there 20 minutes later, and the cargo was already gone.
What? That's crazy.
48,000 pounds of scrap copper. Now, luckily, there was a video camera across the street that got an image of the side of the truck that picked it up. We managed to get a hold of that guy, and he said he was paid in cash to haul that to a scrap yard 40 miles away, where we actually recovered all 48,000 pounds.
Wow, that's unheard of. That doesn't happen. But I had something similar whenever I was hauling copper too. I had it was where it was cross-docked and most of the time the drivers aren't in on it. Like you said, they're blind shipments. And it's funny because I go on I work a lot with Charles Gracie, where it's the cents per mile, and then on his Sirius XM show Road Dogs. And they're like, well, what can drivers look for? And I'm Like, well, number one, if you're getting told to park somewhere, back up into another, like a U-Haul trailer is backing up and you guys are moving freight from this place to that place. I mean, that's pretty sketch in itself. And so I think even just like that type of stuff, you need to get in touch with exactly who you're talking to. Even for a carrier, like you said, like if it's a blind shipment, to me, you need to talk to the broker about that. You need like the legit broker. And I don't know. I don't even know. I understand why blind shipments are a thing, but like I feel like in today's age with fraud, we need to come up with a better way of doing that. Because I think the drivers, that's kind of the loophole, and they know that.
It is. Yeah. Anytime any of my drivers end up getting a blind shipment booked, I know I do about a half a dozen different checks. Because I want to know, why is it a blind shipment? I want to know what I can do to verify it, and that we're not unwillingly stealing the cargo. Because that unfortunately happens all the time. Because as you pointed out, in most cases, the driver is not involved. And that's something I think a lot of brokers don't pay attention to. I think they're very quick to blame a driver, and you guys shouldn't do that. However, at the same token, a lot of this stuff is inside jobs, and a full investigation needs to be done to really figure out who's involved.
And also sometimes the carrier will act super innocent, like, oh, it wasn't me. And like, I see this with the My Care Portal stuff. So they'll be like, it wasn't me. Somebody fished into my email and got into the My Care Portal thing and whatever. And I'm like, no, you had 2-factor authentication. It was through your cell phone. All of this extra stuff was done. Like, you have to be involved. Like, there's either that or you gave someone your cell phone, and then really you're guilty by association. So it's like, that's why it's so tricky, because some people are legitimately not involved. Some people totally are. I think that's kind of where the human element comes back in. Like, you can kind of tell and read off of some people. Now, that's not foolproof, of course, but let's see. I know Claudia's right in here too. Like VIN number, she wrote. I mean, yeah, you got to verify who it is too, because even whenever you process like an insurance claim, you got to verify that. With MCP, we have that VIN verification. I know I've talked to you about this like a bajillion times, but you need to know exactly who you're dealing with, just for even putting in a insurance claim, because they'll do a better investigation sometimes than the cops, because they don't want to pay it, so they'll find out things.
Oh yeah, it's real crazy. I have put in the comments for all of our viewers the link to register for this. So this is going out not just on our social media, but also on social media for the Lounge Media Group. So please, if you haven't already register for this. Didn't you say you already have over 1,000 registrations for this?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I was thinking I'd only get like 500. That was my goal. But yeah, I think it's just, going to be, I think it's gonna be a lot bigger than that, because everyone's interested in knowing what the California Highway Patrol has to say, which I think is great, because they really do want to make a difference. Like, those guys are good dudes. And so they want to make a difference. They need us to help them get to the next level and build a better team, build a bigger team, figure out, even like, they were telling me, like, sometimes whenever somebody makes a report, they're like scared to give all the information out, because like I said, it's kind of humiliating. Like, your stuff is not like you were subject, and it almost makes you look bad. And so they're like, when we're not here to judge you as far as like how good of a broker or bad of a broker you are, we need all the evidence. So I think that's a big thing too, where people are hiding kind of some things that they find out from the police. Even they're like, that hurts our investigation. So I think just even having them say all that, knowing that, I think is hopefully will make a difference and like help them, and then help us.
Yeah, I do a lot of investigation.
I do a lot of investigation work.
I'm getting a lot of feedback from somewhere. I'm not sure whose mic is doing that. Anyway, I do a lot of investigative work on my own, in addition to my dispatching and all that stuff. My double broker bounty hunter program has gone through a lot of hoops, and I can absolutely empathize with the police on this. If you don't provide as much information as you possibly can about what happened, there is very little that we have to go on. If I have to figure out something that you already know, then that may be the difference between finding the cargo and never finding the cargo. it becomes very difficult at that point.
Yeah, almost
You
like that
definitely
first
need to
48, like we said, you got to give all the info. Yeah.
That also means that brokers and carriers need to be transparent with whomever it is that they're hauling for. When you're talking about a broker, I get it. You don't want, just like we don't want to tell, like, oh man, I don't want to listen. Things are going to happen anyway, right? If you feel like you have a potentially like double brokered load or a theft load, let's not wait another week just to quote unquote see if it shows up. Let's go ahead and contact our shipper, find out about security camera, find out about, like, let's get that ball rolling. What did they report to you that they hauled that load on, and that kind of thing. The idea that we don't want to tell our customers, carriers don't want to tell the brokers, brokers don't want to tell their shippers that a load may be missing or something may be going on. John made a very valid point in that the faster that we, both of you, Danielle and John, are talking about, the faster we report, the faster we get that information out there, the more likely we are to be able to recover this freight. But whenever we're holding on, waiting just to see, that those are the times that we wind up getting ourselves in a mess and basically cuffing the law enforcement that's actually trying to, when they do give us the effort, like if we don't give them the information, then they're not going to be able to get back to be able to do that work for us. So I get it. We don't want to talk about that kind of stuff, but also if we don't share that information with each other and get that out there, then we're not going to be able to recover the freight.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And even the, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. What was I just going to say? Oh, I'll come back. I'm sorry. I'm losing it today. I need another coffee.
About to say it's Monday.
It's Monday. Leave me alone. It was Easter weekend.
It's Monday. I have gone through all sorts of dispatch hell today. And then on top of that, I'm getting my friends over in Long Beach calling me, panicking about, oh man, I'm not going to be working in 2 weeks. I'm just like, okay, well, thanks for telling me. Appreciate it. But we got other fires burning. I still got to worry about the freight that is here.
John, this is Tommy.
Yeah.
You just brought something I was thinking about. What do you think is going to happen? Because we talk mainly, or you just discuss so far as out of the ports and stuff. With the less freight there, people want to be more imaginative about stealing the other stuff. So it's going to be an interesting change in their approach to things. It's scary because they always seem to be a little ahead of us. I have had contact with a Florida theft bureau, the patrol down here, and working out of the port of Miami, which is horrendous. The joke, they said, they opened a pawn shop near the port of Miami, tried to steal stuff, and they were broken into 3 times at that location there. So they weren't successful in that area, but it's just a white collar crime. But when I heard you talk that, and my element is, Diana, I'm on the insurance side, and we have to end up either it costs us money even if we don't pay, because we have to investigate, we have to do these kind of things. And there's a lot of provisions in the policy. Some of the things you just mentioned about broken seals and breaking and entering, and where you have to put them in a secured lot and things like that. So it's a part of the insurance industry pays for this, and we're really worried about it. Rates are going up. We're trying to fight cargo fraud with some people who are experts in this area. This is why I have an interest in it. And the insurance carriers have 3 approaches: to make more restrictive policies and die claims, charge more for it, and write policies that might cover some of this stuff. Jeff and I are working with another Jeff that tried to develop a policy that covers some of this fraudulent internet kind of thefts. But everybody's got to be involved in it. And right now, John, I don't know if anybody's hurting enough to pay attention. Why can't the shippers make sure that the VIN number is right that they give a truck to? Why can't the driver make sure they don't park in the situation? Like you mentioned, how many people know about kingpin locks? They think they're handcuffs out in New Jersey. I mean, it's a part of everybody buying into being aware of these kind of things that bother me. And maybe because of the 600% increase in the last, 18 months, we're all started paying attention to it. But we're very interested in, this was a great deal of discussion we had last week at my conference on the theft side of the cargo that we bring in it. I've also said there's one thing here that there's two types of commodities being stolen. Things with serial numbers are being exported. You can't sell them here, so the involvement in ports. The other item that the study came out, and I'm sure you're aware of this, is consumer goods, soft drinks and cleaning. And 1 year it was even diapers, because anything you can sell at a flea market or a non-franchise convenience store in rural areas becomes something that they steal, because you can't track them. So it's a scary situation, and I'm hoping that we can come up with some option. But I still think it's going to take personal involvement with the driver, the shipper, and the broker, and the motor carrier to end up to vent everybody. It's ridiculous that there's double brokerage now. It's ridiculous that we don't. And I've got 3 or 4 cases because agents call me up when they happen because of the insurance side of it to try to track these things down. And a lot of us we don't vent who our partners are. In the old days, my father was a broker. Everybody knew everybody. Today, nobody knows anybody. The personality of this AI stuff and load board stuff is tough. Who did you use to find that overnight? I mean, you got Overhaul, you've got CargoNet, you've got a couple other things who are helping us find these trailers that have been stolen quicker. And so that might be some solution, quicker reports, and then some kind of getting on it right now.
I'm personally a fan of gen logs for those of us who don't know.
I have a call with the founders of Gen Laws at 4:00 today.
They're great guys. Yeah.
So we're on the same page. They want to add an insurance element to it, and they're at my conference, and they're exhibitor at my conference, and they're going to talk to me about how they can add an insurance element to their program. I want to find out how broad their cameras are. They're not using the DOT cameras. They're using their own cameras that they buy and put because of the resolution, so you can be able to track things. So it's going to be a while before they'll be covering everywhere. They're covering the ones that are where they're the most problems you have here.
Well, Tommy, while you're talking to them later today, plug for them to come onto this show. I would love to get them on the show to talk about the platform, to give them some more exposure, because I do think that's going to be a valuable tool, not just to the Freight Fraud Task Force, but to anyone in the industry in general when it comes to dealing with this kind of stuff.
Well, I'm going to be talking to the founder of it. So, I will do that part of it to try to get some exposure. Even, as you know, I've got some situation with the Road Dog Radio Show on Sirius Radio. I was on it on Saturday with a women in the truck. I'm going to be on this afternoon. So I was getting exposure in that area too, John. But I'll see how much I want to get the word out to them about it. It was kind of, I didn't know they existed until they were exhibited at the conference, and I saw there. And again, they're trying to figure out some way to include that information in the insurance marketplace, that I'll be involved in that with them.
Yeah, I met up with them at Matt's, and I was going to do an interview with them, but they had already left for the day when I got back to their table with my gear. So I kind of missed that opportunity. But yeah, no, it's an impressive group. They've got a good platform, and that's definitely something I want to help feature on this show. And I'm sure Charles Gracie can do them a lot of favors too.
Well, I'm hoping to get them involved in our task force too, to explain what we're trying to do and see how they can do that. That was my interest in both the insurance part and the task force part.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't interrupt you that discussion.
Oh, no. Freight fraud's the topic. I mean, it's crazy how bad it's gotten. And I like the point that you made, Tommy. How is our upcoming freight recession going to impact how this is done? Now, I don't see much of a change happening at the railheads. There's still freight coming in. So you're still going to have whoever is physically going into those containers on the railhead are still going to be hitting them. but you're probably going to be seeing a larger percentage of rail cars being broken into than what you currently see. But as for what's going to happen on inland cargo theft, that's going to be something that I think is going to take a little bit of time. A lot of that high dollar stuff are imports and are being tariffs that are pretty freaking high against them. Electronics out of China, for example. So I seriously doubt we're going to see much of that. So is that going to slow down the amount of cargo theft that's going on nationwide, or are they just going to change tack in how they steal stuff and the types of items that they actually steal? We don't know yet. I think once you start seeing what kind of commodities are winding up short on inventory as the tariffs continue, I think those are then going to start being the big targets for these criminals. So any security type outfit out there really should be watching this with a very close eye.
Well, they're going to have to be fed too, like everybody. They're going to shift, but you got to think about it. If the imports and exports are being more limited, and more than that, they're being more controlled. You know, the bonding warehouses are going to have to be more there, but to make sure they collect all these tariffs and all this policing stuff. So it's going to be harder to, I think, to get to steal those kind of things. So, and those are the main thing from the bad actors out of the country, the internet people. We might go back to breaking a seal and taking 4 pallets off the back either, too. That's another option that we don't see as much as we used to. But I think those things are going to happen. But it's going to be interesting for us all, as you just pointed out. I've been listening to the Road Dog show, and, you know, and they're talking about, as you said earlier, a freight recession. And so that means there's going to be less moving across the border, which means there are less things of high value that are going to be subject to theft. And I don't think and what would bother me, because we've done this before in the past, John, is that because it slowed down, we don't pay attention to it anymore. Now it's slowed down. It's when we need to pay attention to it when we come out of it, that we got all the things in place so it doesn't create itself again.
Absolutely. It's going to be kind of crazy how this is going to evolve. Because right now we're going through an unprecedented period. Theft of cargo, double brokering, etc., is at an all-time high. You mentioned the number earlier, 600% increase over last year, according to DOT numbers. How higher is it going to get this year? I think I've seen 25% increase expected this year. Will tariffs have an impact? I don't know. But I think, as I said before, when supply of specific goods starts to drop, then those goods become far more valuable. I think you're going to see a change in focus on what these crooks are looking at. And we need to be changing our focus in the industry and putting extra security on damn near everything, just to mitigate any chance of that cargo not getting where it's supposed to go.
Well, and even I think they found a lot. The reason why they've been able to infiltrate as much as they have is because I believe they've been involved in the industry. I think they outsourced a lot of people for a long time, and so those people who are probably from less fortunate countries saw this opportunity because they saw the big gaps that we have. I think step one, especially while we're going through a recession, let's fix those gaps that we all know that are there, and they're, I feel like, a pretty easy solution. I think a lot of it's the shippers need to be involved. But even having that conversation with your shippers and saying, like, for instance, I was hearing the other day that even like a shipper was shipping something high value and didn't tell anybody. I mean, even that type of conversation, hey, we need to know these type of things. Electronic BOLs need to be happening with shippers. There's a lot of front on their side. Now, they don't like to invest a lot of money and stuff like that. So how do we as brokers get involved in that? Or how to, as carrier, how do you get involved? So I definitely think there's holes that have been there we can fix, and then that will solve really anything. And then I feel like they're always going to come up with something new. I think even just food, like right now we're about to hit produce season. I think that's going to be the next target while the freight recession is low. I think this produce season is going to be really crazy. So it's definitely going to be interesting going into the summer, because it's usually hot buying season. So we'll see what happens.
Now, I have went ahead and I put up the link on the screen for everyone. It's in the comments on the platforms that support comments, so that people can go ahead and register for this webinar. It is scheduled for Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. Folks, please take a look at this. This is a free webinar, and it is going to extremely interesting and eye-opening, just based on the previews that we've been talking about here today. There's a lot more to come. And I think between MCP, California Highway Patrol, and the Freight Fraud Task Force, there's a lot more to come out in the not too distant future. It is something that has not been talked enough about in this industry over the last few years. It's only finally gaining the prominence that it should have had, frankly, years ago. And I'm hoping it's not too little too late. Right now, the crooks are way ahead of the game, and it's going to take a lot to try to stem the tide. I know that the task force, through its education folks, are going to be putting out recommendations for warehouses, for drayage companies, for carriers in general, and brokers on how to secure freight as best as possible. But, let's face it, these guys are creative. Where there's a will, there's a way. And they're going to find a way. Thankfully, there's also industries popping up that are helping to stem a lot of that. I met with a group, I think I want to say it's Snatch Lock or Snatch Latch. I'm trying to remember. I got some video from them at Matt's that I'm planning on publishing this week, and they have these specialized tools for protecting the dry vans, containers, etc., to keep people from getting to the locking mechanisms as an added safety feature. So if that can help, I mean, heck, right now I'll take anything to help stem this tide. Because at the end of the day, as we said, it's consumers who are going to end up paying for all this before it's all said and done. It's consumers, not the crooks, not the truckers. It's the consumers.
That's right. Yeah, I agree with you, John. Danielle, I'm glad to meet you. I'll respond back to you, John. I've got to get off of this call and get prepared for my other stuff. And I'm interested in this. Make sure you tell me more about when your podcasts are. And I'm here at any time you need some information from the insurance side, my friend.
I do appreciate it, Tommy. Thank you so much for joining us.
I look forward to our thing. Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care.
So how you just mentioned how other industries are getting involved. So like Jen Logs, he was in the CIA before he did this. I mean, he was doing terrorist, whatever, I guess you would call that, like finding terrorists through intelligence, like videos and whatever. So, I mean, that's how he even came about I mean, that's insane to me. Like terrorist hunts is now turning into cargo theft hunts. And that's not even why he started Jen Logs. It was for capacity hunting and finding shippers. So I think those guys are doing some amazing stuff. So yeah, I'll put a plug in for you too, because I'm pretty close with them.
I would really appreciate that. So I want to get them on the show. I've got their contact info around here somewhere. I am still haven't finished writing up all my thank you emails from Matt. I've just been absolutely swamped. But as we come up towards the top of the hour, I do want to go ahead and go around one more time. Do you have any other final plugs for us, Danielle, before we sign off?
No, really please attend the webinar. I cannot push it enough. Any questions that you guys have, be sure to put in the Q&A for them. Now be nice. I want these guys to come back. I want them to go do more things with us. So let's be nice to them. Like I was saying before, it's only 4 of them handling all of Southern Cal. So I know I was talking to some people and they're like, why aren't they doing this and that? I'm like, listen, let's focus on what they can do. Let's give them some help. And they're great guys. So, I mean, even if that does happen, then, I mean, they're there for that. But find me on LinkedIn. This link is not, I don't know, if you can't type out every single thing, hop on my LinkedIn. I have it posted everywhere. I feel like I've been annoying everybody with posts lately, but I'm trying to get the word out. So thanks for having me on here.
In the comments section, I have posted a link as well. Hopefully that's clickable. I haven't gone back and double checked yet. But I'm sure I'll be posting a reminder as well by Wednesday with a link. Also,
thanks so much for spreading that.
No, it's the least I can do. Awareness is one of the most important things about fighting this fight. And the more people we have aware, then the harder time it's going to be for the bad guys. So I want to do everything I can to help support that effort. And Claudia, anything you want to go ahead and add before we wrap up? If you have the chance to turn on your mic.
Be aware, stay vigilant, be aware, folks. Just be aware of who's picking up your freight. Do the VIN checks, do all of those things, and tune in and listen to what the California Highway Patrol has to share with you.
Fantastic. I do need to go ahead and pay a little bit of love to our sponsors, AccuBid Pro. If you're running in this industry, the key to survival is knowing your costs, and there's no better way to do that than through AccuBid Pro.
Tired of spending hours bidding on loads and second-guessing your profits? Introducing AccuBid Pro, the mobile app designed for the everyday owner-operator. We simplify load bidding, making it fast, accurate, and stress-free. Know your operating costs up front to ensure every load is profitable. Plus, for a limited time, enjoy a 30-day free trial. Stop guessing and start earning. Download AccuBid Pro today, available now in the App Store. Bid better with AccuBid Pro.
Man, I'll tell you, Kate, it has been a very crazy day. Normally, you and I get to chat at the start of this, but yeah, we just haven't had the chance. And have you said more than 2 words today?
Not in here, no.
How you doing anyway? It's Monday.
It's been a crappy Monday, I'm telling you. It's been a crappy Monday. I'm hoping it gets better, or maybe it doesn't turn out as badly as I anticipate, but we will see.
I hate Mondays. Unfortunately, that's copyrighted. So sorry, Jim Davis, wherever you are in this universe. But folks, we've got a lot going on this week. Aside from Freight Fraud Task Force and the things that they're doing, we've got several meetings this week that we're part of. We have Danielle and her webinar. Please, by all means, if you have the opportunity to register for that, it is on Thursday, noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Please check that out. It's certainly going to be exciting and will not disappoint. I know yours truly will definitely be logging in to check that out. All of our news is compliments of the Trucking News Hub at truckingnewshub.com. Please be sure you check that out for all of your logistics news. It is also the main news outlet for the Lounge Media Group. Stop the Scam is live every Monday, 1 p.m. Central Time on all the Lounge Media Group social media outlets. Please be sure to like and subscribe so that you can stay informed of all the latest stuff that is going on. If you ever do run into a problem, you can always reach Kate at kprice@stopthescampodcast.com. You could also get me, the Double Broker Bounty Hunter, at jcantera at stopthescampodcast.com. That includes if you run into an issue regarding fraud, don't be afraid to email us. You email us and we'll be able to finally give you a hand and hopefully get you out of the fraud situation that you are stuck in. But the sooner you say something, the better. Be sure to pay attention to LinkedIn, especially for news from the Freight Fraud Task Force. That is where most everything is posted under the hashtag Freight Fraud Task Force or hashtag FFTF. Be sure to watch for that whenever you get the chance. Guys, there's a lot going on out there. We have a Blitz Week coming in a few weeks, so start getting your trucks ready for that. Got to stay safe out there, and no matter what you do, don't let scammers take you for a ride. We'll catch you all next week, folks.